Okay, back to the laws of stealing. Okay, so first of all we learned that you're not allowed to steal even with the intent of returning it right away, even for a joke. It's still biblically forbidden to steal. You're not allowed to hold money, then yet, even though it came to your hand halachically correct. Let's say somebody gave you something to watch, or whatever. You can have a million situations. Allah will discuss a few of them soon. So then, but you're withholding somebody's money. So even though you didn't steal it, but it's really somebody's money, you have to give it back to them. So then it's also the lav of leisashik. Leisashik is a form of stealing, but stealing is when you go take it from the person. Leisashik means it came to your hand permissibly and you're not interested in giving it back. Or like you tell them, keep coming back, come back. It's also forbidden. Now, the same thing applies, by the way. What happens if there's an object of a non-Jew? We learned before that, contrary to public Jewish belief, it's forbidden biblically to steal from a non-Jew also. So what happens if you have an object of a non-Jew that you didn't steal, but it came to you, somehow it came to you, and you don't want to give it back? It's also biblically forbidden because it's still stealing. And stealing, you can't steal from a non-Jew. Also, you're not allowed to make a mistake, deliberate mistake, with a non-Jew, which means as follows. The case Kitzur Shulchan Aruch says, you can't, with giving money, let's say it cost $100 and you give him $95. Okay, and he took the money. So even though you're not cheating him, he took the object and he gave him the $95, but still halachically that's called stealing. Now if a guy on his own makes a mistake, and this is also very delicate halacha, so to speak. If a guy made a mistake on his own, what's called Torah Sakum, if a guy made a mistake, and you tell him, let's say the guy gave you, he's supposed to give you $20 change, by mistake he gave you a $50 as change. So you have to tell him, so really, you didn't take the money, he's giving you $50, but it's really a mistake. So you have to tell him, I'm relying on your calculations. I'm relying on what you did. Otherwise, it's still stealing, because then you're supposed to give it back. Now, it says also that what happens if the guy is going to find out that he made a mistake, and is going to cause a chilul Hashem, which is nothing worse than chilul Hashem. So then, even though the guy made the mistake, you have an obligation to give it back. That's it's mamish considered stealing in that respect of it.
Are you allowed to help somebody steal? Let me tell you what I mean. You know the guy is borrowing money and cannot pay. You know for sure that. If you lend him money, he's a stealer. He's not going to pay, and you know it. Should you continue just give him the money?
What's the expression? Somebody tricks you once.
Yeah.
He's the fool. Somebody tricks you 3 times, you're the fool. Okay, let's discuss this then.
Yeah.
If somebody's asking you for a loan, and you know he's not going to pay you back.
He hasn't paid it since beginning.
Okay, so halachically, you just don't lend them the money. And if you do, you can count it as tzedakah money, because you're not going to get it back.
So I'm not helping him to steal that.
Not if you give it to him to keep.
Also, I should say it to him here.
But what happens if he comes over to you, somebody comes over to you, and he says, this guy wants to borrow $100,000, $10,000, $5, whatever. And you know the guy doesn't pay back debts. If you say to him, yeah, lend him the money, he's honest, and you know that he's not, then you're part of the stealing process, because you're helping in the stealing. If you're giving him the money, you're giving him the money. You're not expecting it back, so just count it, write it off for tzedakah. So 1 second. But in fact, halachically, if you know somebody doesn't pay back debts, or somebody's not honest in business, and somebody comes over to you and asks you advice, am I allowed to, should I lend them money, whatever, you have an obligation to say don't, because he's not honest. It's not called Lashon Hara, because the person, if you're going to say no, they don't want to speak Lashon Hara, he'll lose money, so then there's no Lashon Hara in that respect. If If you want to lend them the money, as we say in America, you want to be a fool and lend them money that you know you're not getting back. That's your choice. What?
As a personal question, I mean, you advocate for people in my job, in different positions. Is it my job to determine first before I represent somebody whether or not I think they actually did it or not?
There was a law conference here in the West Coast, in Irvine, where Anthony Scalia was there. When he was in the Supreme Court, he was there, and Rabbi Adin Steinsaltz was there. Okay, and they generally had it out for over the weekend. It was very interesting. So it was an accredited course. I happened to be there. I spoke a few times, but the main guys were Scalia and Rabbi Steinsaltz. So somebody asked the question: if it's morally correct for a lawyer to defend somebody that he knows did it, is he allowed to represent a criminal? Can he be a defense lawyer? Okay, basically, and if you know he did it. So Scalia answered, it was interesting. Scalia answered, in America, every person's innocent till proven guilty. Every person has a right to a fair trial. There's nothing immorally incorrect of defending a criminal, and you're allowed to do it. Steinsaltz said, earlier Steinsaltz said that it says in the Mishnah, you shouldn't act in a lawsuit like a judge shouldn't act like Orech HaDayanim basically is a lawyer. Okay, you should listen to the case, not give things to help out any person. So he said, Rabbi Steinsaltz said like this. I already said before that there's no such thing as an honest lawyer in Torah. So let me phrase your question. Listen to this. Let me rephrase the question, he said. You're asking me, is there such a thing as an honorable prostitute? That's what Adin Steinsaltz said. He was able to get away with it, by the way, because of who he was. In fact,
They never invited him again.
No, there's no problem. Anyway, so I went over to the guys later. I became friendly with a bunch of the guys. So I was saying, what do you think about what he said? He says, we're used to it. It doesn't mean anything. But the truth is, you have a right as a lawyer to defend somebody that you know is guilty. As a non-lawyer, you're not allowed to. As a lawyer, that's your profession.
Right.
But to help somebody that you know is guilty, to help him out with that, if it's not your profession, then you're helping somebody. We're going to learn soon learn a din. I'm just going to jump to it now because you have to have more details later. You're not allowed to buy stolen goods. It's forbidden to buy goods that you know are stolen. Why? Because you're actually helping and assisting the thief in his job. Because he has no buyers, he's not going to steal anything that he's not going to be able to sell, right? So by you buying stolen goods, you're helping both things together. You're actually helping a thief, and you're an accomplice in the crime. An accomplice in the crime. Okay, that's if you know the goods are stolen, or there's a very strong assumption that the goods are stolen. Like the guy is walking in the street and show you to pick up the, his Rolex watches, yeah. So then, obviously, you're not allowed to buy it. Because it's stolen goods, you're helping the person. If you don't know, why should somebody assume there's a gun? Why should you assume there's stolen? One second, what?
Can you buy something which is counterfeit in a place like China, not in the U.S.? In the U.S., it's ruled against.
Can you buy something counterfeit in China and bring it to America?
Yeah, like Rolex.
Or leave it in China?
No, Rolex watches are made in China.
That are fake?
Yeah.
No.
Can you buy it and bring it here?
And do what?
Not to sell. You're buying your own personal.
Rolex.
You could buy whatever you want.
No. Last week we talked about intellectual property, right? That's still...
No. It's a fake Rolex.
A fake Rolex.
Yeah, but one second. It's not that Pashut to be halacha. Why am I saying that? Because the guy that's selling it to you acquired it from the thief. So it's called Shini Rishus. If somebody steals something, okay, there's a whole Bava Kama, I mean, good part of Bava Kama. But a guy steals something and sells it to somebody, can you buy it from that person? So then is, if, it's called Shini Rishus, if the domain was changed and the original owner gave up hope, so then it's not, halachically you could buy it.
If they gave up hope.
If they gave up hope.
But if they're still trying to enforce the intellectual property rights,
In China?
of course they are. All the companies are still trying to do it. That's why they lobby Congress to do this law.
In Congress, you're talking about America. Forget about China.
It's still, they're trying to enforce their rights.
They have no rights.
Maybe
What?
a few will fight, but
What?
So in the original case, so like where someone stole something they were selling you to, but the evidence is okay. Like if you didn't know and you bought it, would you have to?
But the evidence, if you didn't know and you bought it, so then because it changed domain and the original owner, we can assume gave up hope, you don't have to give it back. First of all, the whole purpose is not to help the robber stealing, right? He's not going to take it back from you. So what do you gain by? You're going to tell him, okay, I want to give it back. He's not going to give you back the money. So there's nothing you could do about it. So in that case, but the evidence, you can keep it. This is between you and Hashem. In other words, whether I'm going to buy stolen goods, knowing it's stolen goods, between me and Hashem. I can say, oh, I didn't know. You know, but that's between the Jew and Hashem lying.
Remember you left your watch in the mikveh, and I don't laugh. I asked everybody, I asked the audience, nobody knew what it was. Was I allowed to take it?
No.
Why? I asked everybody. You gave hope.
Because we would have to give it to the guy at the desk of the mikvah.
I did. He said, I don't know what it is.
Okay, so no, he would have to keep, there was a guy then.
Yeah, the other
Okay,
guy.
the Jewish guy would have held on to it when somebody would come back and say, it's my watch.
I gave it back. I gave it to the regular guy.
I know, and he gave it back to me. Okay, so, thank you very much.
No, I know, but what if I would have?
If I would have seen you wearing my watch, there would have been a lot of problems here.
no, that's why, I mean, this idea that it's changed hands.
There is a concept of halacha, again, the laws of stealing are extremely complicated. One of you kind of, for instance, normally the Torah says you have to return the stolen object, right? But what happens if the stolen object, the guy stole a beam and put it into a building? Built it into a building, yeah? Now, but the beam is still there. Now you're going to tell him, okay, you have to return it. Huh? Yeah, but there's it's called tikkun hashavim. Because what's going to happen is, you can tell the guy give it back. He's not going to do tshuva. He's going to take apart his building to give back the beam he stole. So 1 second. Then the Chachamim said that even though the Torah says if it's there, you have to give it back as is. But in order to make life easier for a person to do tshuva, he has to pay the value of it, the money. He can't just get, okay, no. He has to pay you for it. But like normally, he would have to give back the beam itself. If he didn't knock it into the building. Okay, he stole a beam, the beam is still there. You have to give it back as is.
You have to give back 2 times?
If he's a ganav, double. If he's not a ganav, he's a gazlan, once.
I just can't help to think about the scenario, for example, of stolen Holocaust art that gets transferred several times. They're not stolen, they transfer it to Zurich. Zurich gives it to a museum, and now somebody finds their family's artwork in a museum and wants it back. Shouldn't they be entitled to it back?
Yes, Supreme Court ordered, yes.
I know.
Yeah, but it's in halacha, it's not very easy. Because, well, the people that gave up hope, during the war they gave up. Once the Germans took everything, they never ever expected to give it. I understand, but did they ever expect to get it back? It was a miracle that they got it back. And now they found out. So, if you thought there's common decency, which is extremely uncommon, like common sense is very uncommon, okay? Technically, a guy would, if you go to Bais Din, Bais Din would say, you want to be a mensch, you give it back, it's theirs. But would he be able to fight the case? It's mine because there was Yush, they gave up hope, plus it changed the ownership a few times. It's not so simple that Bais Din could force him to give it back. You might not be able to. Again, that's not including menschlichkeit.
Yes, obviously.
Okay.
Is there like a certain amount of time period until Yish like goes up?
No, I mean, you usually, Yush, it depends. Certain things the Gemara says you Yush right away, like money. Because the person knows Yush counts as money. But yeah, it's a complicated issue.